yesterday in the world of technology and maybe overlooked news by those familiar with their Bibles. The story was brain implant cleared by FDA for Precision Neuroscience, a Musk Neuralink rival. And this company is led by a man out of MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Of course, Bill Gates does a lot of deals with MIT. Bill Gates, Bezos, Musk, they're all working on similar technology, computer chips that interact with the human mind. You can only imagine how this might someday play out. And again, I was in college in the early 2000s. I was in college from 2001 to 2005. This idea of computers in the mind was being talked about back then. And it sounded really cool. I had a professor who told us that someday they will have a chip that you will be able to install in your brain and you will instantly be able to speak any language you want. And I remember just thinking about it. I was like, wow, that would be absolutely amazing. You know, you're on a vacation in a country where everyone speaks whatever language and you can just, whoop, just like that, bam. And it remains to be seen if it ever is quite like that. But of course, all technology is a dual edge. If you have a computer chip that can train your brain for what to know and think, imagine how the authorities could use that. Imagine the other things that could be put into your brain in addition to a language. If you ever seen Clockwork Orange, when he's in the room with his eyelids pilled open, being made to look at things he would never want to think about. Again, this would be the other side of the equation. And the thing that is, I suppose, evil about the day that the FDA approved this technology for precision neuroscience, it's as follows. Every year we talk about the same thing on this date, April 17th. I refer to it as the Number of the Beast Day. And there's a reason for that. It plays out in sports each year. It plays out in news. We talked about this yesterday with the Florida State Seminoles shooting on the day that Lee Corso of Florida State retired. And again, right before Deion Sanders' son goes as one of the top picks in the draft. Of course, Deion Sanders, big name from Florida State history. But yes, there are very specific rituals year after year paying tribute to the number of the beast on this day. And of course, in Revelation of the Bible, you learn about the mark, which must be worn on your forehead. The head, the brain, they're in the same general area. The forehead or the hand. This mark, which you must have if you want to buy or sell. And somebody out there might be thinking, well, this is a bit of a leap, but let's just think about it a bit more and we'll talk about recent history and really how these things all tie together so perfectly. Let's first understand why April 17th is the Number of the Beast Day, and we're going to get to why it matters, how Bill Gates is mentioned in all these articles about yesterday's FDA approval. The date in the majority of the world is written 17/4. And if you're new here, this practice coding numbers into words, biblical practice. Again, Revelation 13:18 is about this code. Revelation 13:18 is a Greek isopsophy riddle. Greek isopsophy was a very important practice in that time of ancient Greece. It was a practice that came from Hebrew and Aramaic. Again, all three of those alphabets, every letter is a number. And that's why there's this thing about having wisdom and knowing how to calculate the number of the beast. So anyhow, these are the four base ciphers of the English language. Again, very intuitive. The alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5. With that cipher, up to Z is 26. Number of the beast equates to 174. Again, the date can be written 17/4. April 17th is also the day leaving 258 days left in the year. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, number of the beast is 258. And remember, this calendar was given to us by the Catholic Church. The English alphabet was standardized with 26 letters by the Church. And by the way, the oldest English script goes back to the Catholic monk Burford of Ramsey Abbey. So the language, the English language, has always been associated with the Church. But the Church and the calendar were made into this system at the same time. And once you learn this code, you see the ritualism. You see the continual tributes to the Bible. Number of the beast when you apply numerology to the alphabet, equates to 66. This year, this doesn't happen in every year, but this year, April 17th, 2025, one of the paths in numerology is 4 plus 17 plus 20 plus 25, which is 66. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, number of the beast is 87. And also noteworthy, yesterday was 87 days after the Trump administration took office. And of course, Musk is part of this administration, and he's working on Neuralink, which the FDA granted their first human trials by the numbers 444 days earlier. We'll go back and look at that. The big shooting yesterday at the Florida State campus was the day that Lee Corso, he retired from television broadcasting, something he's done for decades. He's a Florida State alumni. His birthday is 8/7. Again, these things are not an accident. Bill Gates, his name equals 87, and his full name, William Henry Gates, equates to 258. When his father died the other year in 2020, he died on the 258th day of the leap year. Again, not an accident. So, computer chips in the brain. There's another cipher known as Sumerian gematria. It's just multiplying the alphabetic order times 6 and also just running the alphabetic order in reverse with it multiplied by 6. It's forwards and backwards, but with the alphabetic order multiplied by 6. Computer is 666 when you run the alphabetic order forwards. Internet is 666 when you run it in reverse. And for the record, in that same cipher where internet is 666, so is Genesis. Genesis, the beginning of the Bible, the serpent, Satan, tricks Adam and Eve. Well, really Eve, and then Eve persuades Adam to eat the forbidden fruit. Think about Apple, who priced their first consumer computer at $666.66, and whose symbol is a fruit with the bite out of it. And think also about how pornography is so rampant on the internet. It's interesting because the abbreviation XXX is synonymous with pornography. X is the 24th letter of the alphabet. In numerology, 24 is 2 plus 4 is 6, so XXX has a connection to 666. The majority of internet traffic is dedicated to pornography. So, I mean, it's like become the purpose of computers and internet. And it's funny because a lot of the big tech guys are into depopulation, and you think about where that would fit in with people having sexual relationships with themselves in their hand and vibrators and computer screens. Anyway, it's another subject. But hey, imagine a future also where it's a more enjoyable pornographic experience because it's just like the computer's in your mind, and it's never been so HD. It's never been so surreal. Again, I think this is where they're taking people. This company, the reason I have New York up here is because this company's based out of New York. We talked about a number of rituals over the years that have to do with New York and the beast. The other year when they unveiled the beast statue at the United Nations, that was a big headline. We'll revisit that. That was 174 days into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. The Jesuits are the military order of the Catholic Church. The Jesuits gave us the Gregorian calendar that says this ritual happened on April 17, 2025. But okay, computer chips in the head, the parallels to Revelation. With regards to Revelation, Revelation has that numerical value of 121, as does Precision Neuroscience, the company that got approved by the FDA yesterday. Again, the headlines here. Brain implant cleared by FDA for Precision Neuroscience, a Musk Neuralink rival. Okay? I'm trying to find the specific date they were established, because notice they were established in the time of the scandemic when big tech took over the world. In the year 21, just if you're new here, the word Bible itself is 21, as is Jesuit. Very special number. 21 is the sixth triangular number. Again, humanity's made on the sixth day in the Bible. God regrets making mankind in Genesis 6:6. Protestant Bibles are 66 books in length. The King James Version, the opening sentence of Revelation 13:18 is just 3 words. Here is wisdom, which equals 66. For For the record, James also equates to 87, like, again, number of the beast. That's a whole nother topic, but yeah. If we go back to the time of the scandemic, remember the word VACCINE equates to 666, and the first simulation for the scandemic took place on Mercuralia, May 15, 2018, 2 years to the day of Operation Warp Speed, but from Cladex, May 15, 2018, to the pandemic being declared March 11, 2020 was 666 days later. 666, there were a lot of tributes to the beast, having the mark, which you must have if you want to buy or sell. The mark is 666. The jab has the 666 encoding. A lot of people had to get it if they wanted to stay in school, stay employed, go to a show, a sports game, a theatrical performance, shop at the mall, the grocery store, just depending on where you lived and what nation you were in for just how specific these rules were. Also, prior to the jab coming out, you had to wear a mask. Think about the word mark and mask. They're just one letter difference, right? M-A-S-K, M-A-R-K, mask, mark. The plays on the riddles stand 6 feet apart. How many sixes were in the average building in the time of the scandemic? Everywhere, stand 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. So yeah, this company was created in that time. And imagine a future world. You just saw in the UK, on April 8th, on the UK, they're talking about future crime like Minority Report. Imagine a future world where they're saying, listen, we need everybody to have this chip because this technology, it can pick up on your thoughts, your moods, your behaviors, your anger levels. We can't have angry, dangerous people in society. Who knows where this technology eventually go to? I could see it definitely being able, at the least, to pick up on emotional levels. That could be the future. You have to be on a certain emotional level or you're not allowed out in society. Oh man, you're a little bit stressed out today. You need to stay in your complex. 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. Imagine a future world. We all got our nice little block that we get to live in, our government stipend, our red slop or our blue slop for the day, like we're characters in Wall-E. Our brains reading our mood. As long as your mood is on the level, you can go outside of the block, for your 15-minute walk for a couple hours today. But oh boy, if you're irritated, sorry, we're reading your chip. Your door doesn't open today. Yeah, to get that free blue and red slop and your little stipend, we even control the lock to your door. And we can tell just how you're feeling today. And boy, oh boy, if you get outside and all of a sudden your mood changes, we've now dedicated our whole budget to standing armies. We'll swoop you up and put you in your little block in no time. We might even turn you into Soylent Green. But yeah, don't kid yourself, you guys. These people want total control over humanity. They want everything digital. Again, when the Trump administration took office 87 days before this approval, you had the leader of Oracle, the future teller company. He was standing there behind Trump talking about all the miracles that are going to come out of this, the miracle jab. But he didn't talk about it the day at that press conference. But if you go see his big Oracle shareholder meeting from September, just a few months prior, again, he went on at length about the coming AI-driven technology surveillance state and how it's going to have everybody on their best behavior. Everybody's going to be on their best behavior. Look up the CEO of Oracle and what he said in September for their big meeting. Just watch it. Take the time to watch it. I forget, it's like 20 minutes long. A big part of it is how he sees a future where everybody has a camera assigned to them. The entire world is essentially under surveillance, and the AI will be capable of keeping track of all things and monitoring everyone's behavior. For all the people out there that are like, oh man, sounds like we'll be really safe. Everybody will be on their best behavior. Hey, again, all things good and bad. Okay, I get it. All right. Imagine a world with no crime, total safety. But what's the downside of it? There's an authority controlling this. Do you think they're going to be on their best behavior? They're still going to be going on doing all their evil stuff, their blood sacrifices and everything. It'll be like the subway shooting the other year in New York. What was it on? Was it on 4-2 and blamed on the black guy? Is that how it was? All the cameras just happened to go out at that time? That's how it'll be. Whenever suspicious stuff goes on, they'll be like, oh, it was weird. All the cameras were out, so we can't see what happened to that poor guy there. Celebrities will still be kicking the bucket at 27. Every time they do the same thing. Strangely enough, his camera was out. Or I'll be like, isn't it weird how when they die, man, it's just a crazy coincidence. God forbid anybody question it. Then they'd be a conspiracy theorist. Then my mood level might go a little bit too high and I won't be able to go out of my cell or get my blue slop or my red slop for the week. I don't want them to read my conspiratorial thoughts. So I will just say, man, that is a strange coincidence that keeps happening. Thank you, Precision Neuroscience, for making it so everybody can keep such a razor sharp eye on my exact mood levels today. And oh my God, in my cell block, I don't have a girlfriend in here, but this porn in my mind is through the roof. Woo, this is the hottest girl I could have never have imagined her without this chip in my mind. But again, this whole 121 thing. Don't forget the scandemic. Remember when the first case of cooties was found in the U.S. in Bill Gates' yard across from the street from the world's biggest needle? It was on January 21st that all those headlines broke, 121. And then immediately Sirius XM launched channel 121 for 24-hour coverage of the C19 virus. I still remember my buddy King Henry and I, around that time, we drove, you know what day it was? It was April 19th, 2020. And we had a 4-hour drive from where we lived to the Capitol in Washington. We were going out there for the anti-mandate lockdown. And we listened to channel 121 the whole time just for kicks. Man, it was so bad. Like, we both of us had lost so many brain cells, and we're feeling, good thing we didn't have those chips in our mind, because our emotional levels were elevated from the frustration of having to listen. Well, we didn't have to listen to it, but we chose to. But it was just ridiculous, you guys. It was just nonstop fear-mongering. It was things like, listen, if you have not gone out and bought the Clorox, you need to Clorox every last surface of your home right now. Everything. Clorox. And I'm just like, oh my God. Clorox. You guys, if you have Clorox in your house, do me a favor right now. Just go grab it with gloves on, even the packaging. Get a gas mask if you have one, and just throw it in a garbage can and get out of your house ASAP. Clorox is one of the most toxic, carcinogenic products you can possibly have in your home. It's absolutely awful. Yeah, it might kill germs. It also kills you. It's evil. And remember, it was the only product that it was like right as the scandemic came around, it was right on the bottle. Kills the corona. It was right on there. It was like it was all planned. Yeah, it should also say kills you on there is what it should also say. And this is what was going on the whole time. If you were turning to channel 121, it was all about buy Clorox, get Clorox now. The toilet paper could be all gone. Grab it anywhere you can. Stay indoors. Don't associate with your family. If you have enough rooms in the house, everybody stay in your own room. If you have laptops, cell phones, maybe just use your computer. Don't share the other. I was like, listen to this. Yeah, break up your family. Drink Clorox. Thank God for the 24-hour C19 channel on channel 121. Here's how you stay healthy and safe. Meanwhile, you could have tuned into my broadcast where I told you, don't even trip. It's hermeticism. All is mental. They're trying to scare you into insanity. Make sure you don't get out the clot shots when they come around. Be prepared for the long haul, because they're taking this to the year of the tiger. Again, we had it all called out from day one. From day one. Wrote a book about it. Prove my points. It's written pages. Look it up. Number Games by Zachary K. Hubbard. That's yours truly. That book was put out in the middle of 2020, called Everything That Would Come Out in Spades, from understanding what's really going on. But yeah, this company, it just fits right in. It just fits it right in with everything that they want. And yeah, again, you know, if you're on my sports stream yesterday early in the morning before the Seminoles equals 666, and the same thing again, Lee Corso born on 8/7, the dean of the school, 66 years old, mass shooting also equals 66, FF 174. Again, we were talking about number of the beast day and to look for the certain rituals in sports, and sure enough, it plays out in the news. The same things that play out in sports play out in the news day after day after day after day. And I'll tell you one more thing about this Benjamin Rappaport being the leader of this project. He's at MIT. MIT has the value of 42. And where's 42 fit in with the beast? Again, the beast rules for 42 months in Revelation. Keep in mind, in just the base ciphers, computer and internet also equate to 42. It's things like Facebook going live in the 42-month February on the 4th day of the second month, on the same day that DARPA ended their project called LifeLog. If you didn't know that, Mark Zuckerberg, just like all these big tech guys, are nothing but puppets. Mark Zuckerberg, total puppet. Facebook is military technology, also meant to get people to use and give up their own personal information. It's all part of the surveillance state. The head of the CIA years ago, said that it's never been easier to keep tabs on the public or get people to divulge personal information that could be condemning to them than in the age of social media and Facebook. People are putting out stuff on there, and I'll even call myself out. You know how I haven't used it for years, but you know how Facebook has a payment system. I used to let some of my medical customers pay me through the Facebook payment system to get their flour. And I was a little bit worried about that because once upon a time I had to tell some tall tales to avoid tax persecution. And I was worried that somehow, some way they were going to find those Facebook things. And maybe I shouldn't say that because maybe they'll go dig it up and they'll come back at me now. But I think there's like a time period. It's over 10 years ago now. I'll say I was just telling tall tales on the internet today. You don't have to decide which one was the tall tale, but no, actually it's true. And I look back at that, I was like, that's probably a mistake. I probably shouldn't allow them to use that Facebook payment system. You never know, that might come back to bite you in the ass. Well, anyway, moving on. Neurotech startup Precision Neuroscience on Thursday. Thor associated with the lightning bolts, just like Satan comes to earth in a lightning bolt in Luke 10:18. Remember on the Satan shoes of Lil Nas X, he had Luke 10:18 on there, kind of like how the Cladex was the sister simulation to Event 201, the other pandemic simulation that happened on October 18th, 10:18. Anyway, Neurotech startup Precision Neuroscience on Thursday announced that a core component of its brain implant system has been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, a major win for the 4-year-old company. Precision is building a brain-computer interface, or a BCI, which is a system that decodes neural signals and translates them into commands for external technologies. The company's BCI will initially be used to help patients with severe paralysis restore functions such as speech and movement, according to its website. And again, no doubt, all technology, good side, bad side. It's too bad we don't live in a world where psychopaths are in charge and they always love to use the technology to manipulate us for their own sake and benefit. It's too bad that there just can't be honest people out there that say, you know what? This technology really could help a lot of people's lives. Let's leave it at that. I don't want to enrich myself or compromise the quality of other people's life just for my own self-gain. If everybody could observe that kind of philosophy and whatever you want to call it, spirituality, behavior, metrics, by all means, I'd be like, you know what? This technology is awesome. I can speak Spanish overnight. This person can restore that problem. But you absolutely know that it's going to be used in these other ways too. Only part of Precision's system was approved by the FDA on Thursday, but it marks the first full regulatory clearance granted to a company developing a wireless BCI, Precision said in a release. Other prominent startups in the space include Elon Musk's Neuralink. We're going to go back and look at that approval by the FDA for the first human implant. And Synchron, which is backed by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. If you don't know about the history of Gates and Bezos and all the parallels with these men, it really is mind-blowing. Again, they both started their companies in the 47th state, New Mexico, associated with the aliens and the Roswell landing in 47, right after the UFO sighting in Seattle on the 47th parallel, again, thus the space needle. Then they moved their businesses up to the 47th parallel. Jeff Bezos particularly looks like an alien. This technology does seem like it's out of this world. Jeff Bezos officially launched Amazon in 94 when Seattle, Washington equals 94, as does Jeff Bezos. Again, both of these guys grew their market share and power over the world tremendously in the time of the scandemic. Bill Gates helped simulate it with Event 201. But yeah, there's just so many parallels. And there's also a lot of parallels with Musk and Gates. Like we talked about, Musk completed his deal for Twitter on Bill Gates' birthday. And now there's rumors that he's going to end up taking over MSNBC at some point, which is, again, Microsoft NBC. It's been Bill Gates' company. Anyway, this is a foundational moment for Precision, Dr. Benjamin Rappaport said. Precision's co-founder and chief science officer said in a statement, Rappaport also helped co-found Musk's Neuralink in 2017 before departing the following year. Again, he's of MIT. Bill Gates does a lot of work with MIT. MIT, Boston, Massachusetts, the head wound, JFK. Anyway, the piece of Precision system that the FDA approved is called the Layer 7 cortical interface. The microelectrode array is thinner than a human hair and resembles a piece of yellow Scotch tape. Each array is made up of 1,024 electrodes and can record, monitor, and stimulate electrical activity on the brain's surface. When it is placed on the brain, Precision says it can conform to the surface without damaging any tissue. The FDA authorized Layer 7 to be implanted in patients for up to 30 days. It's interesting because Bible equates to 30. Is it an accident? And Precision will be able to market the technology for use in clinical settings. This means surgeons will be able to use the array during procedures to map brain signals. For instance, it is not Precision's end goal for the technology, but it will help the company generate revenue in the near term. Precision has temporarily implanted the Layer 7 in 37 patients so far, and CNBC observed one case at the Mount Sinai Hospital in New York last April. Until this point, the implementations have taken place for short periods, often a matter of minutes or hours, on patients who are already undergoing brain surgery for a medical reason. Now, because of the FDA clearance, the company will be able to collect data for much longer periods of time. This regulatory clearance will exponentially increase our access to diverse, high-quality data, which will help us to build BCI systems that work more effectively. Okay, so again, number of the beast day. 17/4, the day leaving 258 days left in the year, 66 date numerology, 87 days after this administration took office that's backed by big tech, especially Musk, who's working on a similar project, which was co-founded by the founder of this company, okay? So again, just a reminder, just some clear examples, and there's a lot more of these, but as I point out, the Jesuits are who run the show. They run big tech. They're no doubt behind this project and the FDA's announcement. The first Jesuit Ignatian year began May 20th, 2021, Cannonball Day, the day in history Ignatius Loyola was shot with a cannonball. The beast statue at the United Nations was unveiled 174 days later, okay? New World Order, number of the beast, okay? And remember, who died on April 17th? Mr. New World Order's wife. Papa Bush's wife, Barbara, died on April 17th. But yeah, all the headlines were about how this statue looked like the thing from Revelation. These aren't an accident. They're rituals. Dave Grohl, he put out that album Studio 666. They lost their drummer, Taylor Hawkins, and then his mom's, Dave Grohl's mother, died. And keep in mind, Dave Grohl's associated with Seattle on the 47th parallel when Beast is 47, but his mother died 174 days from the release of the album. Studio 666. His mother dies 174 days later. Number of the Beast, 174. I mean, just think about it. Yeah, Studio 666, February 25th release. Keep in mind, that's the 56th day of the year, like Society of Jesus. That's the Jesuits are behind all this. Mother dead. I mean, just think about it, you guys. Just think about it. There's a lot of these examples. These are but a few. Did you know the members of Congress get paid $174,000? We talk about all the satanic sacrifice connected to our government. Does this surprise you that the members of Congress, that's the period this time in the time of Mega, the highest degree of the Church of Satan, Congress getting paid $174,000, spending half their time on vacation. We, the taxpayers of the common people, paying those bills for the most part, and they're serving the rich ruling class that siphons from us, that reallocates our wealth to them. Hello, Elon Musk. Hello, Bill Gates. Hello, Jeff Bezos. Hello, Mark Zuckerberg. All billionaires truly built up on government contracts. And just the thing yesterday with Florida State, again, a lot to it. If you missed yesterday's video, check it out. But yeah, just Seminoles got the 666 connection. Lee Corso retired at Florida State. And again, if you missed yesterday's video, you got to check it out. There's a lot more to it, but geez, I didn't realize how much, man, I put a lot of time in here for the lack of views it got. It's disappointing. Yeah, Seminoles got the 666 connection for Number of the Beast Day. Again, the Dean is 66. Lee Corso, born 8/7. This is how they do it. If I could sing like Montel Jordan, I would. Do the remix. This isn't how we do it. This is how they do it. That's what we need. Maybe that's what we need. We need like the Weird Al type parody songs that people know and like, but with a little switch up on the lyrics to educate. Man, maybe if I get one of those computer chips and it can change your voice and you can sing like Michael Jackson. If I can get the Michael Jackson moonwalk going and the Michael Jackson vocals from the Neuralink chip, I might just have to sell out too. I just might have to do it. Somehow, some way we got to win. Instead, they'll have you singing like Garth Brooks, drunk off your ass, looking like an asshole. It's like, this Neuralink thing's not working. I don't want to sound like Garth. Okay. Yeah, by the way, the Elon Musk thing, this happened on January 29th last year, 2024. Sometimes when I look at this stuff, it just blows my mind. I remember putting this post together, and I just couldn't believe it when I saw the day. I was like, God, it's already been that long? It's like almost a year and a half ago? But look at this, 129, right? Brain implant 129. This is the first Neuralink brain implant approval on 129. And of course, 129 is 201 in base 8 counting. And if you're new here and you don't know what 201 is, welcome to the channel. Trust me, you just keep watching videos, you'll get enough on 201. But transhumanism, this is what it is. So when the human being merges with the technology, transhuman, 129. There were a lot of other things. The news came on the 216th day of Musk's age. The product is 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. From Neuralink being founded on a date that can be written 21/6, like 216, in the year 2016. And don't forget, Cleveland won the NBA Finals in the year 2016. LeBron on the real King James's birthday. And the last game in Cleveland was Game 6. And there were 216 points in that game. But yeah, from the founding of Neuralink to that approval was exactly 397 weeks on the nose, which is the 78th prime number. And notice the small wave brain implant's also 78, as is Jesuit, as is Genesis, and Genesis and the apple and the forbidden fruit and the symbolism in big tech. But yeah, from that day, from this approval to this ritual, because these companies are related, is 444 days. And again, there was a big fat 4 in the story. Let's go back and check that out. They say there's 4 regions of the brain. There's probably something to that. But here, just to pull up this article again to get that big fat 4 in there, not to mention we're in the 4th month. 4-year-old company. The 4-year-old company. They had to emphasize that. But 444 in the Sumerian cipher is interesting because, again, everything we're talking about is the occult, meaning hidden, and it is hidden in plain sight. Occult's 444, so is Gematria, so is Masonic. For all you Jay-Z fans, in the same cipher, Rapper is 444, and Jay-Z's a Mason. He's got the 444 album. That's how they'll be marketing it. You want to rap like Jay-Z? Get the Neuralink 444 on sale today for $444. You'll have that Jay-Z flow instantly. And the next thing you know, you got all kinds of things too. And I can just imagine the future too. I can imagine the future where they market it. Then they'll have that nice friendly voice with all the side effects. May cause brain bleeding, instant heart attacks. La la la. Isn't it crazy watching these ads for weight loss drugs? It's like everyone's walking around in the clouds smiling, and then it's like 40 seconds of potential life-threatening side effects. Like, how about just like get some discipline, stop eating cake for breakfast and dinner, move your feet at least a little bit each day. God. The power of convenience, right? And they know there's everybody, man. The power of convenience. The power of convenience. Yeah, it's just like how they learned that if they don't show subscribers your videos and they just show you whatever they want in the feed, people will forget about their subscribers. They'll just show whatever was put right before their eyes and they can just click on with one click. How convenient. I don't have the time to type in the name of a channel. That would take me 5 seconds. I just want instant gratification. Click. Oh, you guys are talking more about the 5060. I'm going to do a video on that trailer. We're going to talk more about it. And last night in the inaugural podcast for Count On It, eventually I'll get it going on the Count On It channel. But I forgot to mention right there. I meant to have it about the Seattle Chicago thing with Sleepless in Seattle and Tom Hanks again. How Jenny Durkin was the 56th mayor of Seattle, and Lori Lightfoot was the 56th mayor of Chicago, and she has the same birthday as Obama, who won the 56th election. That was an omission that was supposed to be in there. But anyway, we'll recap it. We'll get it again. So, all right, True Seeker. I got to go pick up Sweet Girl. Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the channel. If you've never supported the channel, I hope you do become a future supporter. I know it sounds greedy, you guys, but really there should be a million people in the world that pledge $1 a month. Imagine if we had $1 million a month, you guys. I'm not a materialistic person. We would have the news studio. We'd have a full-time staff of employees. We'd have fleets of vehicles out in every major city. Imagine a ground campaign of this knowledge across the country every day. Imagine the core team flying to where the biggest news stories. Imagine us just getting on. Imagine if we could afford a damn jet. I live next to an airport here that private jets fly out of. I have that vision that someday we will have that kind of funding. We'll be on the GematriaEffectNews jet. We might make the news one night that, the jet had a collapse and we all went to the ground. But you know what? If it was ever that tragic, the knowledge would be out there. There'd be a new GematriaEffectNews team, even more motivated. Again, you guys can't fear death or consequences for speaking out. I don't. If that was the way they had to do us dirty because we were having such an impact, I would look at that as we won. But the point I'm making, I would hope that didn't happen. It would just be awesome if we did have those kind of resources. We could hop on the jet. We could fly out to Florida State, pound pavement. News story breaks that night. Hey, we're on the jet. We're going there too, man. We're going to the next spot. We're going to pound pavement tonight and get it out on the ground campaign. And imagine if we were that big, people would know what GematriaEffectNews is. I honestly cannot tell you why there aren't 1 million people that pledge $1 a month based on all that has been exposed in the almost 12 years. It'll be 12 years in August, 12 years that I've been here, going on 12 years. I really do think there should be at least 1 million people pledging $1 a month. And I told you guys a long time ago, I said, you don't support this work? There's no guarantee that we would have changed the world, but I told you guys all a long time ago where they're taking us to. It's the surveillance state. Lower quality of life, a lot more expensive world where the ability to have the ability to afford almost anything is being phased out. All of this stuff was written in stone a long time ago, and that agenda is going to be followed through with unless it's stopped. There's not really anybody else out there, and that's not really being arrogant either. There's not really anybody else out there in the world that's been as on point or figured this out or seemingly has the balls to be in the right places at the right time. Tell me anybody did anything more important in the world on March 13th, 2020 than what we did. We went out and stood in the freezing cold and rain in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and told the world the future in spades. What they were going to do with that scandemic, why, where all the proof was, everything we talked about. And I spent the whole weekend out there too. We weren't just out there on Friday. We were there Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I spent 4 days out in Seattle. I remember we were trying to raise funds. Didn't raise any funds, hardly at all from anybody. I did spend $2,500 of my own money giving away giveaways on that Friday, March 13th, and we did get quite a few people out there. I gave away $50 hoodies to 40 people, plus whatever else I had at the time. And we've been funding, man. I might have given away $1 million worth of stuff that weekend. Maybe could have got the whole city of Seattle to show up there. We got Deborah Horn from Cairo 7 of Seattle to come out, but she interviewed us, but it wasn't had there been a bigger crowd there, might have been on the news. Who knows? The whole world might have been different. They might have went on live, Cairo 7 in Seattle, talking about Event 201 and Bill Gates. I do know, though, I do think we were the domino that had a major impact on social media, because that same weekend we did that, what was viral on Twitter was Event 201. And we were out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. We had employees come out that day who were mind blown from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that didn't know about Event 201, even though their organization co-sponsored it, because it was only so many people in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that were part of Event 201. The thousands of people that work in there, most of them had no clue about that. So their own employees, mind-blowing. I imagine their messaging they're on their social media like, whoa, check this out. This is why there needs to be a ground campaign. You get to the right places at the right time. You get other people talking about things that can move. What do they say? That can shift the paradigm. Yeah, right now we got about 3,000 and some people pledging $1 a month. 3 years ago, I had 6,000 people pledging $1 a month. It got cut directly in half after we went to Oklahoma City and New York, and it's never. In a way, I kind of think they have the channel capped because it just stays pretty much plateaued at where it is. I don't know if it's something they're doing to keep me just at the level I'm at. That said, in football season, it does go up. But then when football season ends, it goes back down. So I guess it can go back up. But there really hasn't been any, there hasn't been much, there hasn't been any growth in 3 years. And again, here you have somebody that has the ability to speak on the street, get out the message, prove their point in spades. I don't know why there's not way more support for it. Again, you see the support for the Tim Pools, these people, and probably a lot of that is cabal money, but there are a lot of ordinary folks who can afford $1 a month, and ordinary folks should be 1,000,000% behind what yours truly has been doing for 12 years. So, all right, we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you to everybody who does support the work. The places to support are right beneath me on the screen. And there's also the Patreon link, patreon.com/Zachary K. Hubbard, which is in the description of every video. And perhaps I should get that on the screen as well. So thank you, Truth Seeker. Hopefully one day the dream will be realized. $1 million funding, grassroots effort from 1 million people behind the movement. Could change the world. Got to have some optimism. Till next time.